10 years ago, I sat in a support group and listened to a woman named Alice change my life. She was talking about her relationship. Seems that she was involved in an alcoholic, an abusive one, a neglectful one. And then Alice started to cry. She started to talk about the sadness, shame, and sorrow of doing something again and again. It turns out in her talk that Alice had been married twice before. Both failed marriages, both to alcoholics. So she asked the group, why do I do this? Why do I keep making the same mistake over and over and over again? Ironically, I walked out of there with the same thought. Why would she make the same mistake over and over and over again? People always seek positive in their relationships. Why would she keep seeming to seek the negative? Around the same time, I saw a program about cheetahs. In the program, a cheetah mother was chasing a gazelle. And the narrator was talking about this is how cheetah mothers teach their cubs how to hunt. But there was no instruction involved. There was never a single point where the cheetah mother said, okay, I'm going to draw a picture of a gazelle in the dirt here. Here's how fast you have to run. Here's where you got to bite it on the neck. And then here's what you do to eat it. Somehow, these cheetah cubs learned everything without being taught anything at all. I started to wonder if there was a connection between the two. After all, we evolved from animals, and our brain chemistry, our brain biology, still very similar. Maybe there were some things in Alice's childhood that she was picking up that were influencing the behaviors and actions she would take on for the rest of her life. Maybe, I thought, Alice's choices in relationships weren't really her choices at all. I was so curious about this that I did a paper that had nothing whatsoever to do with my doctoral degree because I wanted to know the answer. I wanted to look into child development to see what I found. And what I found were mirror neurons. Now, mirror neurons are cells in our brain that actually help us mirror the actions and behaviors of people around us in order to help us develop as children. See, as kids, we can't talk. We can't write. We can't do all the things that we're used to doing as far as instruction. But that doesn't mean we stop developing. We still need to develop. We need to survive in this new environment we've entered. That's where the mirror neurons kick in. They teach us without us being taught, and they're involved in everything. They teach us how to use cups because we can mirror the action of the hand going up to the mouth. They teach all of us our languages because we mimic the sounds we hear all the time. Again, mirror neurons use your sight and your sound to help you survive this new environment. Now, there's a bit of an issue with that. What if the information they're getting is incorrect? See, mirror neurons are based on the fact that everything they pick up is legitimate. Everything that they're learning, everything you're getting is going to help you later on in life. But what if the messages you're getting are incorrect? What if the behaviors you're learning end up causing you problems later in life? These mirror neurons can't tell the difference between good and bad. They're not programmed that way. They're just simply accept what comes in and move on from there. Now, this isn't a problem if you're a cheetah cub. I mean, cheetah cubs have been hunting the same way for 1,000 years and probably will hunt the way for 1,000 more. It becomes a bit tricky if we're humans, though, doesn't it? Because we are constantly bombarded by mixed messages and examples of behavior that don't work in society, particularly those who have alcoholism in your family. The American Addiction Center said almost half of us have alcoholism, problem alcoholism, in our homes as children. And the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry says 1 in 5 of us, 1 in 5 have an alcoholic parent. But our mirror neurons can't defend us from this. They just simply take the information in and assume they're good. So let's go back to Alice for a second. When she's a baby, she's born, her mirror neurons start taking in everything. They start defining her world for her. What's a crib? What's a banana? What's the color red? Everything. Key to this development will be how she sees and understands man, woman, and the relationship between them. So what is she going to do? She's going to take the examples she sees every day. The people she will later call her mom and dad. This becomes huge because she watches all of their behavior. She mimics the sounds that they make. And she recognizes the personality traits as being that of real men, women in relationship. So every now and then, every woman that she will see from then on in, if she resembles her mother, she will be considered a real woman. If she resembles her father, she'll be considered a real man. And if the relationship that they have is something that she sees in other relationships in her life, she will consider it a real relationship. Now, it's not a problem if you have healthy father, mother figures in your household. Their relationship is healthy because everything will work. You'll be drawn to more positive behaviors. But if they aren't, if there's issues and dysfunction in the relationship, they're going to be called and pushed and attracted to dysfunctional people and problematic, dramatic relationships. So, going back to Alice, let's fast forward now, 15, 20 years, when she starts to date. She starts to get all these men coming into her life. But she needs some way to segregate the good ones from the not good ones. So she goes with what she knows. The definitions her neurons have established for her from her very childhood. Now, if she's got a loving, supportive, funny father, this isn't a problem. She's going to be attracted to loving, supportive, and funny men. If the relationship between her parents was good and healthy, she's going to be drawn to healthy relationships her whole life. But what if they're not? What if her father was an alcoholic? Well, then she's going to be drawn to alcoholics, not because she wants to, but because that's the definition of man that she established in her mirror neurons. It involved alcoholism. If there was drama in the relationship, she's going to be drawn to dramatic relationships. Why? Because that's the only relationship she knew growing up. These are the only definitions she's had, and she's running with them without even knowing it. See, the easiest way to see this is looking at babies. If you look at babies with their mirror neurons, they're looking around all over the place because they're literally defining their world every second of every day. The same thing, the reason we mirror the traits of our parents. Why so many of us have behaviors that others say, oh, you're just like your mother. Oh, you're just like your father. Because these behaviors feel more legitimate as a man and a woman. So when Alice starts to date, whether she likes it or not, she's going to be attracted to a certain type of person. The same person that resembles her father. And the same type of dramatic relationship exemplified by her parents. Even if she did run into a great person, a great guy that was different than this, they would find their way out of her life. Why? Because they didn't conform to her definition of real man. Now, it'd be easy to blame her father on this, right? It'd be easy to say, well, if he wasn't an alcoholic, this wouldn't be a problem. But he's as powerless as she is. Because his mirror neurons, when he was a child, watched his father. And if his father was a drinker, he incorporated drinking as part of being a real man. He might not even like drinking. He may hate it. But what he loves about drinking is the fact that it makes him feel like a real man. Now, what my research has shown is it isn't just Alice. All of us have relationships and people in our life that resemble in some way, shape, or form those early definitions that we established with our mirror neurons. Now, I'm not saying this so you'll all just freak out and cancel all your friendships. All right? I don't want to have a slew of emails about the divorce rate going crazy simply because I gave this talk. What I'm here to do is give you an invitation and an opportunity. It's an invitation to take a long, hard look at the messages of your life and see if, like Alice, you're being drawn to people that you really like, people that bring out the best you, or people that bring out the you that others created. An opportunity to look at those relationships and change them for the better. Because like I said, the father was just as powerless as everyone else. And this is where our parents screw us up. Because we pass these things down generation to generation to generation without stopping. The father is as guilty as the daughter. But at the same time, nobody bothers to stop these things. We are simply mirroring the behavior we've picked up in our households over and over and over again. So once you take that hard look at your relationships, remember, there's comfort in the familiar. Our childhood experiences become our default for life. So now, you've got a chance to go forth and take a look at these relationships. Because the reason you can solve them, the solution you have to them, is surround yourself with people that love you, people that you adore, and be around them all the time. Take them to coffee, take them to dinner, take them to lunch, take them to movies, take them everywhere. The more you're around these people, the more you reprogram your brain to accept different definitions of man, woman, and relationship. So that's the opportunity. Go forth now. Seek out those relationships. Find people that love you and be around them all the time. Because when you find happiness in your relationships, you will find a peace and joy in your life that will work for you. And when you do that, you will find a peace, a joy, and a happiness that will work for the rest of us as well. Thank you very, very much.